We're now going to demonstrate CRIND merchandising. As you set it up through the Passport, you actually now can merchandise these items at the CRIND. I'm going to run through a vanilla transaction here for you. Once you've dipped your card and gotten approved, you're going to actually see on the screen you can still buy your car wash, but if you wanted to buy anything from your merchandising agent, you can say, I want to go to the on the go. Now I've only got 2 menus here. If you actually have more than 4, it fills this area, so you can have 7 different menus. I've got drinks on the go and auto items. So I'm going to get something from drinks on the go. I'm going to buy a bag of ice. Notice I can buy multiples. That was 1. Let's say I want 2 bags of ice. I want to buy a Sprite and a Coke 1 liter. Okay? When I'm done, I hit the done button. Now I could also buy, it'll go back to the main menu. I can buy something else like auto items, and I could buy motor oil, de-icer, an ice scraper, things such as that. When I'm finished, I hit done. If there's nothing else I want to merchandise, it goes back to the main menu because I could still buy a car wash at this time if you're doing fuel discounting based upon that. When I'm all done, it's going to give me a receipt that says this is everything you said you wanted to buy, and if there's more, it gives you a page down here that lets you see more things. And when I'm all done, it's going to then off the pump to begin fueling. So fueling continues as normal. You would go into your Outcast or your Applause media going at this point at the dispenser, and when I'm finished, it's going to automatically print your receipt because you bought items, and on your receipt you're going to see all the items that you purchased during the transaction. And you could, if that's something you're doing outside where someone's going to take care of the customer, notice here you've got all the items that you purchased, including your Coke liter, ice scraper, as well as the approval for your CRIND transaction. So CRIND merchandising is a great way, either seasonally, to be able to sell items to your customers using your credit processor. You could also do cash acceptor with this. It still would work and complement your existing car wash merchandising program as well. Okay, talking about CRIND merchandising, if you're on the manager's workstation and you want to set up this merchandising to be selling items at the dispenser that are complementary of your car wash, things that could be fuel related, automotive related, or convenience food service, you would start on your manager's workstation application and go to the setup, and you just arrow down and you'll see something called CRIND merchandising. CRIND merchandising. When I bring that up, you will see a screen that displays all the settings for CRIND merchandising. First off, you see that it is enabled or disabled. So if you want to disable it from the manager's workstation, you can do that. This is where you set up the vendor name that will show up on your screen underneath the car wash prompt to say, what am I calling the food service that I'm doing? The prompt location of when it will be prompted. If you have car wash, it is driven by what that car wash is. If you don't have car wash, in this screen you can decide if you want to prompt before fueling, after fueling, or both. Under the CRIND merchandising, this is where you're able to create your categories, which are sub-menus that you may want to drill down into. As far as you see the 2 listed here, you see drinks to go and auto items. This could be whatever you want it to call. This, you do need to create these before you actually start putting in items. You can have up to 7 that will display, which could have up to 7 items on each one of those. So that's around 49 items that you could sell through the CRIND merchandising feature. Under the Items tab, this is where you would select a category, the submenu, and these are the items that you will list in this area. Notice I have 4 under the Drinks to Go menu, and under this menu I can then set up the drinks I want to use. Notice to do that, you can either search based upon their POU number or their description if you can't remember that. Now, the items do need to exist in the Passport database, which means it would have been pushed down from your price book, your back office system. There are a couple restrictions. Any item that is a restricted item will show up as a item you could not use. So if I were to put in here, let's say Camel cigarettes, I type that into this screen and search, they will all be in red, which says they're a restricted item and they're not eligible. Another thing to remember is if you have items that are part of a combo, like if I entered Coke and searched, there are some of the 20-ounce Cokes that are part of a combo, which mean they were not eligible because the CRIND is not smart enough to figure out that a Coke and a chip, you get a deal. Once you set up all your items, you say they're available or not. So if something should be not available for a period of time, you could check that box and say it's not available. It won't show up in the menu. You will save everything and your menus will be in effect. Now, if you decide to turn off merchandising at certain times of the day, on the cashier workstation, you do have the ability to disable that through our Tools menu, where you do see on the screen the ability to disable merch or enable merchandising, just like you can disable or enable car wash. This will turn it off at the CRIND and you will not be able to see it at that time. One final thing I want to make sure you see is that Passport does provide, from a reporting perspective, a CRIND merchandising report. This is available for you to print. It can show up, notice here on the screen, it is available by year, business day, quarter, month, calendar day, manager period. So if I want to see how many items I've sold this year from the dispenser, this report will give you a listing of all those items, how many you sold and what's the monetary amount associated with it. So this is a great way for you to have some visibility on what is actually being purchased at the dispenser and how that looks. You can experiment with the things you may want to sell, and once again, this could be something seasonal as far as pumpkins, Christmas trees. You could be selling ice on game day, other things like that could be used. This function could allow you to sell those items seasonally and see how well you did with it. Also, if you are partnering with a vendor who's using part of your property, this is a way to say, this is how much I sold today or this week or over a period of time, and this is how we're splitting the profits on it. So CRIND merchandising, a great way to use Passport to help you be more effective in your merchandising at the dispenser. It is part of our base feature set, available to everyone. Your only restriction is that your dispensers must have either Monochrome, Infoscreen, or our new color screens. You need to have soft keys available on the side. It's not supported in any competitive dispensers. It's a benefit of buying Gilbarco. More to come.